We're ready for our next speaker, Kimi Avary. She's a really fun person to get to know. She's an international relationship specialist. She promotes paradigm shift in the relationship, the successful relationship, and navigation of the masculine and feminine dynamic. And I thought about this because in my line of business, I have talked to people in relationships, and I just remembered I was talking to one they were celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. And I thought, this is really cool. So we were asking them how they were successful in doing that. And, the husband said, well, my wife loves to travel, so we travel a lot. I take her to lots of places. And he said, oh, well, what kind of places? Well, on her 25th wedding anniversary, I took her to China. He says, oh, wow, what are you doing for your 50th? And he said, oh, well, I went back to get her. So somehow I think Kimi's strategy is probably a little different than that. I'm just guessing. She has a master's in counseling, an NLP master practitioner, and a certified relationship coach. She is the creator of the relationship navigation system, and she also she shared a stage with Marianne Williamson and Carolyn Miss, and worked with multinational corporations like Shell and Chevron. She's a best-selling author, part of the Grandmother Legacies, and she also has an upcoming book called Relationship Navigation, and it's endorsed by Dr. John Gray, Mars and Venus. So with that, I'd like to introduce Kimi, and I'm sure she has a better relationship story than mine.
Deb called me and she said, I cannot stand him. He doesn't love me. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't respect me. I've got to get out of this marriage. She's been married 15 years. I've got to leave this marriage. Have you ever had that experience where you're frustrated in your relationship just a wee bit? Would you like to change that experience and have more fun and more love in your life? Thank you. I'm Kimi Avary. I'm a relationship navigation specialist. I work with men and women who are challenged relating with each other personally and professionally. And very specifically, I work with conscious couples on the verge of divorce and breakup who are trying to figure out if and how they can save their relationships. Now, the interesting thing is I actually find myself working with singles and couples because couples become singles and singles become couples. And over the years, I always wanted to get married, have a family, have it all that I was promised. Anybody ever been promised that you could have everything and then you're a little burnt out, right? So I was promised that I could have it all. And by the time I was 36, I'd been to not one, but 2 weddings of men I was deeply in love with. And I watched them marry other women. I was their buddy. I was not the one they wanted to marry. I wondered what was wrong with me because I couldn't figure out how to make it work. And I was really frustrated and really hurt. And after that second wedding, I was in bed talking with a friend of mine, bawling my eyes out, because I had just been to this wedding. And I'm watching my clock tick. I watched Cheaper by the Dozen when I was a kid, and I wanted 12 kids. And then I thought, I'm going to adopt a bunch of them. I don't have to have them all. And it turned out, fast forward a little bit, I started menopause at 42. So here I was at 36, my clock's ticking. I wanted to have a family and I couldn't figure out how to make it work. And then I was introduced to a program called Celebrating Men, Satisfying Women. And the day 1 of that program, I said to the trainer, I want to do what you do. Because I learned that men want to provide and protect women. What? I had no freaking clue. because I was taught to be strong and powerful and do everything myself and not need anybody. You know how many dates I went on with men who they'd say, Kimmy, I need you. And I'd say, you don't need me. Nobody needs anybody. I've got it. You're cool, And then they'd go off and marry somebody else. The light bulb went on. And I figured out that they actually need to be needed. Guys, is that true for you? You really want to find somebody you can contribute to, right? And you love it when women receive your contribution? Whether it's helping you to get your car ready, or it's carrying a box or holding a door open. When I was younger, I couldn't figure out how to get a man to open a door for me. And then I learned, you let them get there first. Right? Hello? Okay, so I want to give you 3 things that are really important about relationships. 1, we all make assumptions. We have a massive perception problem. We make assumptions about relationships. One assumption that we as women make is that men are hairier, misbehaving versions of ourselves who are either doing things we would never do or not doing the things we would do, and we're upset. Anybody? Yeah. Men typically look at women as kind of smaller, emotionally indulgent, colorful versions of themselves who can't get to the point to save their lives. Right, guys? Yeah. So we have this perception problem because the truth is we all suffer from what I call CEOs. That stands for stuck in your own head syndrome. CEOs for short. Everybody say it with me. CEOs. We all suffer from that. And that means that we're looking at anybody else outside of ourselves as a version of ourselves. And how many of you, Doug got up here and he was talking about his soulmate. How many of you would like to have that kind of relationship where you feel loved and supported and nurtured? That's precious. And the work I do works with singles and couples and men and women and gay and straight, and I'm all about love. I want you to have love in your life. So when we get over this perception problem and become voraciously curious about the opposite sex, about the other person, and it could be another woman or another man, it doesn't matter. When you're out of your own head and you begin to be curious about another person, you get amazing gems. You get amazing wisdom. And how many of you love to be seen by somebody? Yeah, it's precious when somebody gives you their full attention and they see you and they connect with you and they listen to learn about you. I call that the respect factor, where we pause and we listen to learn. And we hold a sacred space so that the other person can feel so valued. And when you do that, what happens is the person inside of you, or the person you're talking to, they'll say something like, oh, well, that's all I have to say about that. Or, wow, I've never told anybody that before. When you hear those words, you know you've got some sacred listening that successes. So the first thing is, remember, we all have a perception problem. We all make assumptions about other people. So the first thing is to make only one assumption, and that is that you don't know what the other person's thinking. Number 2, you need to learn to navigate relationships. You need to learn to navigate life with other people. And there are certain patterns that men have and certain patterns that women have that are typical. And if you look at it, like imagine a yin yang symbol down here. And on one side, you've got the masculine, that is the provider, protector, producer energy. And on the other side, you've got the feminine, supporter, adapter, enhancer energy. They complement each other. Everybody know what a yin yang symbol looks like? Right? They complement each other. There's not one that's better than the other. And when we begin to understand these patterns, then we can spend more time in consciousness. Imagine a nice little circle up here. This is where love lives. This is where choice lives. This is where our best selves live. And we can be the most conscious person in the world and get tripped up in our relationships if we don't understand this masculine and feminine dynamic. And then the third thing is being voraciously curious. This is where you create the future that you truly desire. This is where partnership happens, whether it's personal or professional. I am committed to helping you have a relationship where you are thriving, where you can shine your light to the world. Thank you.
Are you a speaker looking to reach more people with your message? You have a global vision that you want to touch the world and make a global difference. If so, I have an amazing opportunity for you. It's called the Speaker Talent Search. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. You'll find all the details, but here are the highlights. With one application process, you get clarity on your message. You get to fine-tune how you want to reach the world. Then you'll have everything ready in one place for the opportunities when they come. Second, we select you as a finalist. You get to come in and audition with a 7-minute audition, open up the door to hundreds of speaking opportunities. I hope you lean in. I hope you say yes. We would love to hear your message. Help you touch the world powerfully. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your powerful message.